What's up, everybody? I'm Leo Ray's Rayon,
I'm Josh Glazer.
and this is the Raising Glaze podcast. Today, man, we're going to be talking about Jameis Winston going to the Saints. Now, I think that you're pretty excited about this, right?
Yeah, it's a no risk it to get the biscuit, basically. To
Yeah.
quote the late, not really late, but the former head coach of Jameis, Bruce Arians.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so, man, he gets to come in there this year, sit behind one of the best quarterbacks to play the game under one of the most creative offensive minds in the game, now and, one of the all-time great innovators on offense, Sean Payton. Yeah, man, so it should be a good year for him. I mean, I'm sure he's going to learn a lot, and just he's going to be in a great position to develop, without having the pressure of performing under him, which is a pretty much a spot he's pretty much never been in, at least in recent memory.
Yeah. So yeah, some of the details are he signed for around $1 million, real cheap deal, but he has about $3.4 million in
incentives, right?
Incentives, yeah. It's pretty much him going. He's compared it to getting a football degree at Harvard to kind of like reset his career and kind of bring him to the next level. It was very interesting listening to his press conference. He seems like he's in a better place. He's more grounded mentally. I think it probably has to do a lot with his changes in his personal life. He got married recently. He got married to a girl who's from Louisiana, or her family's from Louisiana.
Yeah.
So that's a happy wife is a happy life. So he's good with that. And then also he's recently had surgery on a knee, and that's all better now. But part of the rehab process was he was working in Birmingham with the guy that is very familiar with Drew Brees and has worked with Drew Brees in the past. And it's actually and the surgeon he had was someone he's had interactions with for pretty much his whole career and a lot of his life. So he was very confident with the whole process, and he took that chance to kind of take more information in from others and be a little less stubborn with how he's doing it and a little less laissez-faire about his attitude towards it. And he's become, the past 3-4 months, I believe he's taken up the vegan diet, which is an interesting option. The thing with him with the diet, I'll just start with this because I think it talks to his mentality and his new approach, is that I don't necessarily, and you can add on after, but I don't necessarily think that all football players should get onto an extreme diet like that, or all people, pretty much. It's all about your body type and what you're looking for out of it, or just whether it's vegan, whether it's just vegetarian. There's a lot of different options that you can go with. But I think for him, looking at his body type and kind of how he's put together, I think leaning out wouldn't be the worst thing for him, because he's always kind of been a little bigger. And there's weight to lose that's bad. That's probably more you would characterize as bad weight. Because seeing him in his press conference, he looks a lot leaner and a lot more kind of chiseled out a little bit. In comparison to a guy like Gronk, where maybe he needs some of that with the whole diet that he was on. His body started breaking down, but we don't have to talk about Gronk. I think it'll probably affect him. What's your thoughts on him going vegan, and you think that kind of bodes well for his future, or do you think it may be counterproductive the way it was for Cam?
Well, I mean, I think it's, first of all, everybody's different, and I think, pretty much I feel like everyone who plays like more of a contact position, every time they go vegan, they end up like kind of getting hurt. I mean, whether it's with Cam or like with people previous, like Arian Foster, who was basically a vegan. So, but I think it's kind of different. And I mean, this might just be a way that he's losing weight right now. Like, who knows how long term this is really going to be. But I think that is good because, like, it'll help him. If he loses like 10 pounds, it'll only help his footwork. Like, it'll only help, his agility and stuff. So I think it's a good move. You know what I mean? I think most people when they do that, most people tend to like whether they publicize it or not, they end up eating meat like later
Well,
in the
yeah.
season.
So
You know.
one thing he's talked about that he does have a built-in cheat day
Yeah,
because
yeah,
he was losing weight at a pretty high level. So he didn't
yeah,
want to get all the way down to like 210 or 200,
yeah,
like he
yeah,
was kind of projecting. So he does have that the day, and he kind of joked about it in his press conference that he always gets his kind of chicken fix or whatever,
yeah,
which is it's kind of funny that he didn't mention like crab legs or something with
yeah, yeah, yeah,
some of his past issues with
yeah,
but anyway, I digress. One stat that kind of has really kind of made it really interesting with some of the criticism of him. Like there were a lot of really bad decisions last year, and that's why he threw 30 picks and like turned it over more than any other quarterback in the league. But I don't know what when you look back over that film and you kind of look at every throw and kind of where those decisions were, there's a lot of stupid mistakes. But I also think a lot of it was built into the mentality of the system he was in. And one stat that's kind of come to my attention, it was through PFF, was kind of as follows. It's when you're listing the top 3 most turnover-worthy plays in a single season since 2006, meaning plays that either were turnovers or probably should have been based on their grading. The 3 top quarterbacks were Jameis Winston in 2019 at 40, Carson Palmer in 2013 at 40, and Andrew Luck in 2012 at 40. And do you know what all 3 of those have in common, Leo?
yeah. Nah, what?
They are all
Bruce Arians, huh?
they were all in the first year under Bruce Arians.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it really kind of makes you think. This is a whole nother angle that we can talk about later, but whether or not Tampa kind of made a mistake by cutting bait this early in Bruce Arians' tenure with them. But I think Brady probably made that decision pretty easy for them. Uh,
Yeah,
that's a whole different thing. But it kind of puts in perspective that it may, while it was him making those decisions and making those turnovers in the way they were at that high rate, it's on him. It was also obviously a mentality that was kind of pushed. It's part of the reason why like I believe you said earlier, or maybe not, that he led the league in passing yards and was second in touchdowns. And you don't do that unless you're like insanely talented.
yeah, yeah. Which I mean, I think no anyone that says that Jameis isn't talented, is
Yeah,
not really.
that's not anything anyone says though. That's not
Yeah,
he's not Mitchell Trubisky.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, man. So I think that now I mean, does this mean now? Obviously, he's only signed to 1 year. Like, but what do you think this means? Like for the Saints and Jameis, like going forward. Like, do you think he's the guy? You know what I mean to replace Breeze or?
I think Sean has always been pretty consistent, whether it's quarterback or any other position. I think that he does see Taysom right now as the future, but that can change based on how Jameis performs in this year. Like if he really likes his energy the same way he liked about Teddy, and then he also really performs in preseason, and hopefully that's all he has to perform in is just preseason, and he doesn't have to have any action in the regular season. But most likely he'll. I mean, Breeze doesn't really get hurt previously before this year, but it's very possible at an older age that he'll miss a couple of games. That's
Yeah,
when Jameis will get a chance, most likely, to come in and be the full-time guy. I
yeah,
think they'll still want to have Taysom running kind of more that flex position where he's kind of all over the field. But
yeah,
part of the thing that frees them up to really make that decision of best available and who they want to roll with, if Breeze, in fact, uh, does follow the tea leaves and does retire after this year, hopefully after a Saints Super Bowl, but that's neither here nor there, would be the fact that Taysom has now a 2-year extension that he just signed, which is around $21 million. And what it does is ensure that they're not being held over the barrel by Jameis by saying, okay, you need to pay me. I played well. If you want me, you're going to have to pay me a ton. They're going to say, oh,
uh-huh.
well, we like Taysom too. but I think they will, if Jameis plays and shows what Sean needs. And I think Sean is coming in with a clean slate on him and going to really treat it as a internship in some ways, a paying internship, but not really a high paying to where he's really substantially affecting the cap.
Yeah.
Going to allow him to have a really unbiased approach to it. And as much, and another factor of all that is the other quarterback the Saints added in Tommy Stevens, who, let's say they decide they want to go with Jameis next year, so he plays well. And this is a big jumping down the rabbit hole, but say we like him and Taysom's like, okay, I respect that opinion, but now I want to be traded because I got 1 year left and I want a chance to start because I'm older. He's at like 30 or 31. And in that case, they have a player with similar skill set. Obviously, he's not Taysom Hill because Taysom is very special, but a guy who's actually done a lot of what Taysom has in college, and Tommy Shepard, who's 6'5", 6'4", 250, ran a 4.49, 4.5 time. Similar kind of athlete. Supposedly has decent hands, decent route runner. He's probably farther along than Taysom was coming into this 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Started all this, but it kind of once again, I think he's really set up the situation where there's wide ranges of options that can really address and be clean. Clean's not the word. Very clear to what their observations are, and there's no bias with this. And I think it's going to really serve the Saints well in a situation that a lot of teams don't have after a quarterback is getting close to their end time.
Yeah. I agree, man. I think y'all are in a pretty damn good position. You know what I mean? And I think that Jameis can do well, and I think that if he gets the chance to play, you know what I mean, I think he can play well. And I mean, you know, because there's a lot of quarterbacks that didn't, or that started off kind of rough early in their careers and like ended up, you know, figuring it out. I mean, Peyton Manning being one of them. You know what I mean? So
His
like,
stats are almost exactly the same as Peyton's.
yeah.
Started off his career.
So I think that, you know, I mean, he was like he was the first overall pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean,
there's nothing wrong with his arm. There's nothing wrong with his ability to make certain throws. It's all about the mental processing and leadership aspects and just communication and all of that. Which I think he's probably in the best situation you could possibly be in. And part of that reason is he already has a predetermined relationship with Breeze. All the way back to, I believe, 2006, he met him in Alabama when Breeze was rehabbing and signing with the Saints. He claims to have, as the story goes, he claims to have gotten one of the first signatures of Drew Brees as a Saint. But then again, he said he lost it, so who knows? I mean, not that he's lying, but I mean, who knows if it was the first or whatever. But I think there's a strong relationship there that's going to allow him to really soak up as much information as possible. And I think he's got a really strong, not to bring religion into this, but he seems to have a new approach in terms of embracing his religion. I think it's kind of grounded him as an overall human, as a man, and the way he interacts with his, now that he's a wife, he can't really be a kid anymore. And I think he's kind of at a real point that could, as long as he avoids injury, knock on wood, and nothing happens off field that's out of that ordinary, I think he's in a really good position to either succeed with the Saints or get paid big wherever he goes next.
Yeah. So yeah, man, I think we pretty much nailed that one in, man. So yeah, Jameis Winston, y'all have pretty much the best backup quarterback in the league now, almost, right?
Yeah, well, he's sure shit better than using a second-round pick on Jalen Hurts. But,
yeah, man. So
that's a whole nother pod. I'll try not to piss off Eagles fans too much.
Yeah, the Saints are in a good spot, man. So, all right, y'all. I'm Leo Ray's Rayon.
I'm Josh Glazer.
And like and sub and share for some more stuff. We got some more stuff coming up for y'all. All right, peace.
Y'all take care.